This is Paul Bedford, Business Growth Specialist. I'm going to talk about my next video series, which I'm really passionate about. I'm actually passionate about lots of things in business, but I'm really passionate about this. It's public speaking, how to do dynamite presentations. Now, you won't believe this, well, you might believe it, I don't know, but I got my first school report here. This was at the age of 7. And what they actually said, there's only one comment at the top there, I don't know if you can see that, and it says, Paul is shy and hates talking to the class. And I showed this to my wife, and my kids, my stepkids, and all my family, and they went, what? You were shy? You hated talking in public? Yes, hard to believe, isn't it? But yes, I was shy. In fact, I was painfully shy. And I gave that at the age of 7, but at the age of 10, I gave my first presentation to a group of 100 people. And I was terrified. I stood up, there were a group of people behind me on a stand, and there was an audience in front of me, and they couldn't in the podium. And I stood up, and I had my notes, I put my notes on the podium, my hands were shaking, I gripped the podium for grim life so people couldn't see that I was shaking, and then my legs started to shake, and I couldn't control them. And so what I did is I just told everybody, I said, you won't believe this, but if you could see how much my legs were shaking right now, you'd be impressed that I'm actually able to talk to you. And everybody laughed. And interestingly enough, it broke the ice for me, and I started to talk. Now, I'd obviously prepared in advance. Don't ever try winging a presentation if it's something you're not familiar with. I looked up the top 10 fears. And one of the biggest fears, the second biggest fear, is the fear of public speaking. 6th is the fear of death. So people would rather die than actually speak in public. The number 1 fear, by the way, is fear of flying. So goodness me, do not do a dynamic presentation on a plane if you don't like public speaking. How do you overcome the fear? Because it is scary getting up there in front of people. The first key to overcoming fear is knowing your stuff. Make sure that you know your material inside out. And then get little cards and put bullet points of the things you want to talk about. And make sure you don't need to rely on those bullet points, but if it all goes out of your head, glance down and look at the next bullet point and start talking about that. Another way to overcome fear is to just do it. Practice, 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 practice in front of a small audience, your family, your friends. They'll be probably harsher than a proper audience. And then get up and actually speak. You might want to join a club to practice this, but getting up and doing it is the only way I've found to conquer the fear of public speaking. You've got to feel the fear and then do it anyway. Great book, by the way. So, public speaking, how to do dynamic presentations, a whole series. I'm going to try and keep it to 3 minutes at a time and give you stuff that I've learned over 40 years of public speaking, long time. And I've learned a lot. I've learned how to crash and burn, but also how to tell people things that they remember and they talk to me 20 years later. So I'm looking forward to talking about these topics with you on a daily basis for the next few weeks. Thanks for listening.